You are looking live at a Bernie Sanders event just got underway in Des Moines tonight. All of these leading candidates are burning it late into the night. This is it. Senator Sanders was close to losing his voice earlier today, but he's had some fairly sizable crowds all day, as he has in the home stretch. Let's listen in.
Iowa has shown my family and my staff incredible hospitality and warmness, and we appreciate it very much. This is a beautiful, beautiful state, and it's been an honor to have the opportunity to campaign in it. The other thing I want to say about the people of Iowa, and I have been deeply impressed by this, I think Iowans understand that they have a very unique role to play in the presidential process. And I believe that they take that role very, very seriously. And I think there are many people who have come out to our rallies, have gone to Secretary Clinton's rallies, Governor O'Malley's rallies. They are listening very carefully about the choice that they want. They accept that responsibility that is given to them. And all of you in Iowa should be very, very proud of that.
Bernie Sanders tonight in Des Moines. Also in Des Moines, Chris Hayes, who wrangled a conversation not long ago this evening with Bernie Sanders on the trail. Chris?
Well, Brian, you know, from the sheer perspective of scorekeeping, right, the nomination comes down to who amasses the most delegates. And what's decided tomorrow, when you have two candidates like Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton who are polling so close, is ultimately a delegate spread that might be 2 or 3 delegates. But it is the momentum, the expectations, the narrative that comes out of Iowa that's so important, particularly, as Steve was mentioning earlier, for an insurgent candidate like Bernie Sanders. If anyone has an interest in playing down expectations for Iowa at this point, it should be Bernie Sanders. I asked him how he defines victory. This is what he said.
Well, obviously, it goes without saying that I want to win. We started this campaign, Chris, like 40 or 50 points behind. Now the polls are very, very close. Your point is that if, somebody wins by a few points, somebody loses, the number of delegate difference will be, I don't know, I really don't know, 2 or 3 delegates, not a whole lot. But there's symbolism in winning, and obviously we're working hard to win. And I hope we do. And if there is a large voter turnout, you know what? I think we will win. If there's not a large voter turnout, probably not. So we're working hard to create a large voter turnout. But I think we have already made a major point. We have advanced 40 or 50 points. We have made a really strong showing. I don't know what the results will be. We're going to go to New Hampshire. I think we're going to do well in New Hampshire. We're doing better in Nevada and better in South Carolina. I think we have a campaign that is creating a lot of momentum.
There's a general sense among Republicans I talk to and among Democratic sort of political figures, the Republicans want you to win, and some of them are putting their money where their mouth is. Should that matter?
Republicans want me to win? Well, I think maybe these Republicans better start checking some of the national polls, because if you look at some of the recent national polls, I do better against Trump than Hillary Clinton does. If you look at battleground states like Iowa, battleground state, New Hampshire, battleground state, Wisconsin, battleground state, we do much better against Trump than does Hillary Clinton.
When you say Trump, there's 2 ways that I've encountered liberals, Democrats, center-left folks about Trump. One is, this is the housing bubble and it will end in ruin. And the other is, oh my God, this is a possible thing. I have to reconcile with the possibility I will wake up on January 20, 2017 and watch that guy take the oath.
No, Donald Trump is not going to take the office not going to be sworn in as president of the United States. I will beat him, and I'll beat him badly. Because I think, aside from his bigotry and the outrageous things that he's saying in his pathological lying, other than that, this is a guy who wants to give huge tax breaks to billionaires, does not want to raise the minimum wage, thinks that wages in America are too high. He's a guy that I think we could beat, and beat badly.
The event tomorrow night, I don't think people don't understand this, I think. The event tomorrow night is a Democratic Party event. The Republican Party and the Democratic Party, as parties, are having events to choose their nominee.
Yes.
Now, you were not a Democrat for most of your career in Congress. It was a decision you made. What is on the eve of the Democratic caucus in Iowa, what is your relationship to the Democratic Party? How do you describe it?
Well, I've been working in the Democratic caucus in the House and the Senate for the last 25 years.
But that's different than the party.
Well, I've been working in the, well, that's what I am. I was a congressman and I'm a senator. That's what I do. So right now I am the ranking member of the Budget Committee, leader of the Democrats. A couple of years ago, I was the chairman of the Veterans Committee representing the Democrats. But I would say that, you know, if elected president, I would, to be very honest with you, go about making major changes in the way the Democratic Party does business. It is insane to me, and my fellow Vermonter Howard Dean made this point years ago. How can you be a national party and not have a 50-state strategy? How can you ignore the South where poverty is rampant? So I think we need a 50-state strategy. And I also believe that we have to make sure that we're getting our funds from working people and middle-class people, small donations, rather than being dependent on large donations and super PACs. So those are some of the changes that I would make.
Last question here on foreign policy. To people that care a lot about foreign policy,
Sure.
They care about what's happening in Yemen and the Saudi proxy war that's being waged in there, and about getting a peace deal in Syria, if that's possible.
Yeah.
For people that are skeptical that you actually, in your gut and in your head, crave knowledge and are invested in these issues, what do you say to them?
I do. Look, nobody can become president of the United States without understanding how serious foreign policy is. Look, this is life and death stuff. This is war and peace. This is nuclear war. So any serious president has got to be deeply involved, has to in foreign affairs, has got to bring the best people in, and has got to do, you know, the best that we can to try to address the many, many crises that exist all over the world. Let me just say this, you know, I understand that Secretary Clinton has a whole lot of experience in foreign policy. By definition, Secretary of State for 4 years. But in terms of the most important foreign policy issue of the last 20 years, what was it? It was the war in Iraq. Not only did I vote against the war in Iraq, go to my website, go to YouTube, hear what I said. So, and what I ended up saying was my fear about what would happen the day after Saddam Hussein was overthrown. And much of what I said turned out to be right. So, you know, I do understand that people, you know, think that Secretary Clinton has a whole lot of experience. She does. Judgment matters as well. And I trust my judgment in terms of foreign policy.
Do you trust hers?
Well, you know, let the people decide on that one. She had the same information as I had. I was in the House, she was in the Senate. When Bush told us how important it was to invade Iraq, she voted yes, I voted no.
Bernie Sanders referencing the fact that he came from 50 points down to being neck and neck on the eve of this caucus. And also, I have to say, sounding very similar to the Bernie Sanders a year or 6 months ago when he was 50 points back. Brian, back to you.
Yeah, Chris, I was going to note the change in tone we saw just today. He now finds the Clinton emails a serious matter. And he appeared in your conversation to be kind of channeling his inner Tessio. So much for Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah, you could tell that, as always happens in every campaign, that both the candidate and the campaign around him, they're in a fight now. I mean, this is close. Whatever they got into this for, they understand they are on the precipice of possibly winning tomorrow, and they want it very badly.
Chris Hayes, really interesting conversation with Bernie Sanders out there in Des Moines, Iowa earlier today. Rachel and I have been joined by two of our friends.